Money laundering. It's not just a plot point you see in crime thrillers. It's a very real-world threat. It fuels crime, and it can destabilize entire economies. So, how does a nation fight back? Well, today we're going to explore India's main weapon in this war, the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, or PMLA. But before we can really get into the nuts and bolts of the law, we first need to understand the crime it was built to dismantle. I mean, what is money laundering really? And how does it even work? At its heart, it all comes down to a pretty simple question for criminals. You've made a ton of money from illegal activities, right? But how do you actually spend it without getting caught? You've got to wash it. You have to make it look like it came from a perfectly legal source. This washing process usually breaks down into three key stages. It all starts with placement. That's where criminals sneak that dirty cash into the financial system, a lot of times in small, less suspicious amounts. Next up is layering. Now, this is the most complicated part, where they create this crazy maze of transactions to hide where the money originally came from. And the final step? That's integration. The clean money re-enters the legitimate economy, ready to be invested or spent. And it's a truly vicious cycle. As you can see here, dirty money gets placed into the system. It's layered through all these complex transfers, often using offshore accounts to make it even harder to track. And then finally, it's integrated back into the economy as luxury goods, real estate, or other investments. It's this self-perpetuating loop that lets criminal enterprises not just survive, but actually thrive and grow. And believe me, this is about way more than just criminals enjoying our ill-gotten gains. The consequences are far, far more severe. When criminal organizations get this kind of financial power, they can actually start to weaken the very fabric of society and ultimately even our democratic institutions. That's what makes stopping this cycle so incredibly important. So, how does India take on this enormous challenge? Let's shift gears and look at the main legal framework that's been designed to prevent, detect, and prosecute money laundering. This is it, the Prevention of Money Laundering Act of 2002. Now, this was designed to do more than just punish criminals. Its main goal is to attack the very lifeblood of their operations, the money itself. It creates a whole legal framework to trace, seize, and confiscate those illicit funds. You see, the PMLA isn't just one single rule. It's a complete system. The Act itself is structured into 10 different chapters that create an end-to-end process for tackling financial crime. For instance, Chapter 2 defines what the offense is, while Chapter 7 sets up the special courts needed for prosecution. It's a comprehensive blueprint, really, designed to leave no stone unturned. So, this is the crucial part. What exactly does this law consider to be money laundering? Let's take a look at how the Act itself defines the offense, which you'll find right there in Chapter 2. According to Section 3 of the PMLA, the crime is committed by anyone who knowingly gets involved in any process connected to the proceeds of crime. And the key here isn't just having the money, it's actively trying to pass it off as legitimate, or in the language of the law, untainted. And the law is really specific about what being involved means. It covers pretty much everything, from hiding the money to just possessing it, acquiring it, using it, or even just projecting or claiming that it's clean when you know deep down it's not. Any one of those actions could land you in hot water. The entire PMLA really hinges on this one critical term, proceeds of crime. It's a simple but incredibly powerful concept. It defines any property, we're talking cash, real estate, any asset of value, that comes from criminal activity. This is the dirty money the law is built to chase down. Okay, so defining the crime is step one. But how do the authorities actually recover the illicit funds? Well, that brings us to the really powerful enforcement tools that are detailed in Chapter 3 of the Act. One of the PMLA's most powerful tools is something called attachment. Think of it like putting a legal lock on an asset. An authorized director can provisionally seize any property they suspect is proceeds of crime. This basically freezes the asset, making it impossible for the accused to transfer it or sell it while the investigation is going on. But the PMLA doesn't just rely on investigators. Chapter 4 cleverly turns banks and financial institutions into the system's gatekeepers. They are legally required to keep transaction records for 5 years, verify their clients' identities, and report any suspicious activity. This puts them right on the front line of defense against dirty money. All right, so you've defined the crime and you've seized the assets. What happens next? Well, the PMLA creates a dedicated legal infrastructure to handle these really complex cases from start to finish.
Three key bodies make this law work. First, you've got the adjudicating authority set up under Chapter 3. They're responsible for confirming if an attachment of property is justified. Now, if you disagree with their decision, you can appeal to the Appellation Tribunal, which is set up by Chapter 5. And finally, the actual criminal trial for the offense of money laundering is held in special courts, which are designated under Chapter 7. It's a specialized path for a very specialized crime.
And the penalties? They are severe. Anyone convicted of money laundering faces rigorous imprisonment for a term that can be anywhere from 3 up to 7 years, along with a significant fine. It just goes to show how seriously the law treats this offense. But a law this powerful carries a profound responsibility. A Supreme Court observation captured this dilemma perfectly. It said, "Condemning an innocent man is a bigger misfortune than letting a criminal go." And that's a stark reminder that while the fight against financial crime is vital, the process has to be balanced to protect the fundamental rights of every citizen. And that leaves us with the central question, doesn't it? The PMLA provides a powerful toolkit to combat a crime that can corrode society from within. But, as we've seen, using it requires a very delicate balance. It really asks us to consider, how do we aggressively go after dirty money without compromising the very principles of justice we're trying to protect?